Hey, hey. That mic seems pretty hot. Here, let me turn that down a little bit. Got the noise gate pretty tight. Check. Trying to cut out that air conditioner sound behind me. And I'll be recording this also and streaming so I can edit out this stuff and make an episode later. This is Floyd. New to the family, one of the best investments I've ever made. It's just a stock Schecter, but man, they do it right. This thing came out of the box like this, ready to play. In tune. I plugged it in and recorded 3 songs that day with this straight out of the box. I'll put a link down below to my Amazon to the exact link I used to buy it. I didn't get this from Sweetwater. This was an Amazon score, which they're starting to beat Sweetwater. Just say it. Shh. All right, well, we've been tracking this song Safe in the Dark for this project. In the last episode, we were recording the drums, and I showed how to plug up all the drums and how to talk about that. The way I do guitar for me in my personal projects, I just go straight. I have a Neve DI box that gives me a really good analog DI. For a long time, I didn't think it mattered. It does. There's another Amazon score. I'll put it in the description below. I'll put an awesome link. If you buy anything from these links, it kind of helps me out. Oh yeah, and sub to my page. Now, it's impossible to get people to sub on YouTube. But anyway, I just plug straight in direct. Today I'm using an amp sim that I bought. It's Joey Sturgis Tones. It's the Jeff Loomis suite, but I tweak it to give it a little less grr and more, I don't know. Yeah, I know how to dial that stuff into where I like it. So that's how I'll be recording today. It's just DI. I have my guitar plugged into the Rupert Neve Designs DI box, and then the DI box plugged into channel 3 of my board. But if you're just recording on like a Scarlett 2-in, the cheap one, which that's what I started on, everyone does, just plug straight in. The main hard thing is make sure if your Scarlett doesn't have a clip button or a instrument button. If it's one of the older Scarletts, then it's going to have problem with clipping if you chug real heavy. So either you got to learn to pick different, which is not good, or get a pad button or a pad adapter cord to bring down your signal. You just don't want anything to clip ever. Even though this is an analog board, at some point it's going through the digital mainframe of bullshit. So you just don't clip. Straight up. When you're recording guitar, it is crucial that you don't clip. You'll see it. If any of the inputs on your interface turn red or even orange, I mean, yellow is bad. You don't want it real low because then you're going to get noise floor. And noise floor is just, yeah, I think I just heard some. It's the digital noise floor. Anyway, you want your noise floor, you want it to be right in the middle, man. It's pretty common sense. If it's too low, you're going to have to crank the channel and that causes noise. If it's too high and it clips, it's going to clip. And that's digital noise that you probably just heard, and it ain't cool. So when you're recording, if you see any of that, stop. Delete that crap. Do it again. like I did with the drums. I did those 1,000 times, but you guys only saw that one little episode about it. You know, it takes the work, and there's a lot of that work I spare y'all from. Like I spent a couple of minutes tuning this guitar today before I pushed stream. So, just a little common sense goes a long way in the music business. It seems to be a dying art. Anyway, if you've been following this series, which I'm gonna finish, I'm sorry, it's been a while. Been super busy. I'm waiting on a revision to come right now, or I'd be working on that. But anyway, let's work on this track. I'm just gonna play it a little bit because I know what it's supposed to do. It's like, ooh, already out of tune. I was all bragging about Floyd. You dropped the ball, son. Trying to remember the other change. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Sounds like the soundtrack to a really gangster movie. Weird how this on the guitar is a big jump, but on the keyboard it's just like this, which I have my keyboard right here under this notepad. But this song was written on the keyboard, and when you write it on the keyboard it seems logical, and then you play it on here and it's like, oh, that's in 1,000 songs. It's different when you write on a keyboard. That's what me and a friend were talking about. It'll make you think differently about your guitar and how relative on a keyboard, these 5 notes are all over the place on the guitar, but it's just one hand barely moving on a keyboard. Yeah. If you've ever played with a keyboard player in your band or a pianist, you'll learn real quick that, man, how it transposes. Like, there's some piano parts that if you played it on the guitar, you'd have to be a supreme badass, which I am not. But the guys that I'm jamming with this project kind of dumb it down for me. So I'm going to give it a shot, probably a few shots. Enjoy. Sorry, them fucking Godfather keyboards were blowing me out. Let's try that again. Don't have me whacked, Mario. My bad, you could hear my pig noise in the microphone is distracting the shit out of me. Anyway. Gonna turn off the vocal mic on the next take and try it again. Actually, I'm going to switch to the Reaper view on this take. And I'll just do it again. And in Reaper, it'll make loops, and I'll be able to pick parts that I like and I don't like and whatnot. But take two without the clickety clacks. They were annoying the shit out of me. By the way, when you're recording yourself, anybody, remember to say, hey, bro, before you do that take, tune. I forget a lot. And then you have to stop. And tune. RIA Tuning is a free plugin, and you can get the RIA version and download it to your phone, and it'll work on anything. It's the best tuner on the market. It's 100% free. You can find it. I use it just using Reaper because I'm smart. Anyway, take two. That view's probably pretty boring for you, so I'll switch back. Okay. Yeah, that was better. And as you can see here inside of Reaper, it made 2 tracks. So just going to keep doing a bunch. I like to get at least 3 full tracks of each part. That way I can go through and cherry pick and make a perfect track, or maybe one of those is perfect. That's what you're hoping for. It's like lightning in a bottle, where you'll just play it one time and it'll be perfect. But it never, hardly ever happens that way. But it does happen. I'm going to keep playing these guitar parts until I get one solid take that I feel perfect twice. I'm going to go through, because I personally, when I'm doing vocals and all the synth and all the crazy stuff that's in this song that I've heard the demo of, the guitars are going to be paying hard left and right, and they need to match pretty almost identical. You want it to be a little bit off, because that's what gives it the stereo zazz. But for big metal orchestration type productions like this one, it's going to be, I need 2 solid guitar tracks. So I'm going to sit here for the next couple of hours and just sit here and bang them out. I'm a picky bastard. And you should be. If you're not, then, I mean, are you an artist? I mean, I wonder how many times like great paintings got blacked out and painted again, because I'm a painter. And if you chisel out some of those layers, you're going to see a bunch of fuck ups. In audio, it's even better. It's digital. I mean, of course, I'm running analog hybrid as much as I can, trying to get that old guy vibe that I miss. And I found it. But everything will end up digital at some point. So anyway, these are just notes I like to, we're learning how to record yourself in Reaper. These are things that I've learned. So when you're mixing a song and you have like the vocals and the bass and the kick drum and the snare drum and probably the lead guitar, and on this song, I know there's a bunch of echo stuff, a lot of timed echoes and Pink Floyd type stuff. So there's a lot of noise to make space for. I hate to call it noise. Man, I'm not trying to, it's art. I like how music can be noise. Noise can be art. I'm a huge fan of art. I mean, and my favorite artists are Salvador Dali and like the weirdest shit you can imagine. The dark side of life is I've always liked a little pain in my art. You can probably hear that. Anyway, I'm going to go through and edit these guitar tracks until I get 2 perfect takes. And then I'll join back again and we'll continue this, record one song, learn to record yourself in Reaper. We're going to finish this entire song. I have the keyboard parts that Mario had sent, so now I can just start layering on top of it and sending stuff back and forth. The vocals will be last. I think there's a lot of echo vocal on this. Everything's echoey in this except for the drums, the bass, and the guitar, which I'm going to finish the guitar, and then we'll come back and do bass. A point or note in learning how to do this stuff and record your own songs is I used to record the bass right after we'd do the drums. It's just how we did it back in the day, you know, and I don't know why. Maybe because I grew up with a bass player in my family, and like it was drums, then bass immediately after. And I found that if you get the guitar parts right first, it's a lot easier for the bass player to follow along and know where he's at, for one, and 2, the bass track is a lot easier to edit and move to match the guitar parts than it is the other way around. If you're trying to edit 2 guitar parts that are panned left and right to match one bass part, I figured out that's just backwards. And it's a lot easier to get the 2 guitar parts matched up tight with the drums and then move on to the bass and then move on to everything else. That's just, I'm making this video to try to teach and try to spread the knowledge I've learned over the last 5 years of working in Reaper and 30 years of recording myself. So go check out my stuff. You can find Freedom Family everywhere, freedomfamilystudios.com. And thanks. Peace.